We often find ourselves trapped in a world of our own making, a world shaped by our limited understanding and misconceptions. This is what Nichiren Buddhism refers to as fundamental ignorance. It's a state of being where we fail to see the true nature of reality, instead clinging to false beliefs and destructive patterns of thought. But there is hope. By recognizing and confronting this ignorance, we can begin the journey towards enlightenment and true happiness. Nichiren Daishonin taught that breaking free from fundamental ignorance is not just possible, but essential for our growth and well-being. He wrote, "Enlightenment means to be free from the illusions of fundamental darkness." This fundamental darkness, or ignorance, clouds our judgment and prevents us from seeing the world as it truly is. To understand how we can break free from this ignorance, we must first recognize its pervasive nature. It's not simply a lack of knowledge or information. It's a deep-seated misunderstanding of reality that colors every aspect of our lives. We might believe, for instance, that our happiness depends entirely on external circumstances, or that we are powerless to change our situation. These beliefs, while often unconscious, shape our actions and reactions, trapping us in cycles of suffering. The first step in breaking free from fundamental ignorance is awareness. We must become conscious of our own thought patterns, beliefs, and assumptions. This requires a willingness to look inward, to question our long-held ideas, and to challenge our comfort zones. It's a process that can be uncomfortable at times, but it's necessary for growth. Daisaku Ikeda explains, "To break through the dark night of fundamental ignorance requires that we summon forth the courage to face ourselves honestly. This courage is crucial, as it allows us to confront the aspects of ourselves that we might prefer to ignore or deny. Once we've developed this awareness, we can begin to challenge our misconceptions. This doesn't mean simply replacing one set of beliefs with another, but rather developing a more nuanced and flexible understanding of reality. It involves recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and the impermanence of our experiences. Nichiren Daishonin taught that the key to this understanding lies in the Lotus Sutra, which he believed contained the essence of the Buddha's teachings. He wrote, "The Lotus Sutra is the truth of the universe. By studying and internalizing these teachings, we can begin to see beyond our limited perspective and grasp the larger truths of existence." One of the most powerful tools for breaking free from fundamental ignorance is the practice of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. This phrase, which translates roughly to devotion to the mystic law of the Lotus Sutra, is at the heart of Nichiren Buddhist practice. By chanting this phrase, practitioners aim to align themselves with the fundamental law of the universe and tap into their innate Buddha nature. The act of chanting serves multiple purposes in the journey to break free from ignorance. First, it provides a focal point for meditation, helping to calm the mind and create space for deeper reflection. Second, it serves as a reminder of the teachings of the Lotus Sutra, reinforcing the practitioner's commitment to understanding and embodying these truths. Finally, it acts as a catalyst for change, helping to shift our perspective and challenge our ingrained patterns of thought. As we continue on this path of challenging our fundamental ignorance, we begin to see changes in our lives. We become more resilient in the face of challenges, more compassionate towards others, and more at peace with ourselves. This is because we're no longer operating from a place of fear, misunderstanding, or delusion. Instead, we're grounded in a deeper understanding of reality. It's important to note that breaking free from fundamental ignorance is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As Nichiren scholar Josei Toda pointed out, the struggle against fundamental darkness continues throughout one's life. We must remain vigilant, continually questioning our assumptions and striving to deepen our understanding. This ongoing process requires patience and persistence. There will be times when we fall back into old patterns of thought or behavior. When this happens, it's crucial not to become discouraged. Instead, we should view these moments as opportunities for growth and learning. Each time we recognize and challenge our ignorance, we strengthen our ability to do so in the future. One of the most challenging aspects of breaking free from fundamental ignorance is confronting our ego. Our ego often clings to our misconceptions, as they provide a sense of security and identity. Letting go of these beliefs can feel threatening, as it challenges our very sense of self. However, it's precisely this attachment to a fixed self that Nichiren Buddhism identifies as a primary source of suffering. Nichiren Daishonin wrote, "Suffer what there is to suffer, enjoy what there is to enjoy. Regard both suffering and joy as facts of life." This teaching encourages us to detach from our ego's desire for constant pleasure and avoidance of pain, instead accepting the full spectrum of human experience. As we progress in our journey to break free from fundamental ignorance, we begin to see the world in a new light. We recognize the inherent Buddha nature in all beings, fostering a sense of connection and compassion. We understand that our actions have consequences that ripple out far beyond our immediate perception, encouraging us to act with greater wisdom and care. This shift in perspective also changes our relationship with suffering. Rather than seeing it as something to be avoided at all costs, we begin to view it as a natural part of life and an opportunity for growth. Nichiren Daishonin taught, "Regard both suffering and joy as facts of life, and continue chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, no matter what happens." This approach allows us to maintain our practice and our progress even in the face of adversity. Breaking free from fundamental ignorance also involves recognizing the impermanence of all things. This understanding can be both liberating and challenging. On one hand, it frees us from the suffering that comes from clinging to things that inevitably change. On the other hand, it requires us to let go of our desire for permanence and control. Daisaku Ikeda explains, "When we change our inner state of mind, our entire experience of life is transformed. This transformation is the ultimate goal of breaking free from fundamental ignorance. As we shed our misconceptions and align ourselves with the true nature of reality, we experience a profound shift in our lives. This shift manifests in various ways. We may find ourselves more resilient in the face of challenges, better able to navigate complex relationships, or more fulfilled in our daily lives. We might discover a sense of purpose that was previously obscured by our ignorance, or uncover talents and abilities we didn't know we possessed. However, it's important to remember that breaking free from fundamental ignorance is not about achieving a state of perfect knowledge or understanding. Rather, it's about developing a more flexible, open, and compassionate approach to life. It's about recognizing our own limitations and continuing to learn and grow throughout our lives. Nichiren Daishonin wrote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Each small step we take in challenging our ignorance, each moment of awareness, each act of compassion is part of this journey. There is no final destination, only continual growth and development. As we continue on this path, we not only transform our own lives but also contribute to the transformation of the world around us. By breaking free from our own fundamental ignorance, we become better equipped to help others do the same. We become beacons of wisdom and compassion in a world often clouded by misunderstanding and conflict. Breaking free from fundamental ignorance is a lifelong journey of self-discovery, challenge, and growth. It requires courage, persistence, and a willingness to question our deepest held beliefs. But the rewards of this journey are immeasurable. As we shed our misconceptions and align ourselves with the true nature of reality, we open ourselves to a life of greater wisdom, compassion, and fulfillment. Nichiren Daishonin's teachings provide a roadmap for this journey, offering practical tools like chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo and studying the Lotus Sutra. But ultimately, the work of breaking free from fundamental ignorance is deeply personal. It's a journey each of us must undertake for ourselves, guided by the wisdom of those who have gone before us, but forged in the crucible of our own experiences and realizations. As we continue on this path, may we remember the words of Nichiren Daishonin. Believe in the Gohonzon with all your heart. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle? With this spirit of courage and determination, we can face our fundamental ignorance head-on, breaking free from its constraints and stepping into a life of greater wisdom, compassion, and joy.